back in the jungle. Man, it's thick in here. Looks like it was logged many, many years ago. There's some monster stumps in here, but everything else is getting fairly mature again. Went out swimming yesterday and found some spots. I left 3 trail cameras. I think that there's one big bear out there, and where there's one big bear is probably known. And saw another medium-sized bear there the other evening, and I mean gazillion eagles. So I dove down and grabbed a handful of dead salmon, laid them on the logs and stuff to bait the eagles and the bears in front of the cameras. Should be pretty cool. I'll leave that for a week or so. It reminds me, I still got to get back when I get back to Pemberton. I've got that camera I left back in April, I think, where I hung the moose meat 12 feet up in the air with that camera on that grizzly trail by where I had that stand. I got to go get that camera and see what's on there right now. There should be, the bear rut should be tailing out, in which means whatever I got on there is going to be on there by now, and it'll be pretty damn cool, I think. I'm hoping to get some monster grizzly bears on that camera. And then I got to get out to the coast here real quick and start filming out there and fishing and guiding and doing all sorts of goofy fun stuff. And keep on sharing a lot of these emails. And there you go. And you know what? There's a handful of people emailing me pissed off because I did a repeat story. Or somebody, you know, a friend of mine texted me a screenshot of somebody saying, I gave this a big thumbs down because I heard this story before. And I'm like, I'm going to give a polite message to you people that feel that way. You could probably poke that up your ass and leave the channel, right? Because this isn't for entertainment. It's not for you. If that's what upsets you, you're at the wrong place. Made it clear what this channel is about. It's about the people who have been discredited. People that need to be heard, and it's about gaining knowledge. And if you actually think that I'm going to give a flying shit what pisses you off when it comes to watching this channel, you're wrong. So just save your comments, delete, block me, block the channel, leave. Alright? Probably shouldn't even waste your time saying that. I know, but I did. Sorry. Early in the morning, a couple coffees in me. Ran out of gas coming here on my quad. Damn kids. There's 5 teenagers at the house right now going crazy. Swimming in quad and horses and badminton out back and ripping around on them. Quad burning up the gas. But it's all fun and all good. I'm sure everybody, a lot of you out there know what I'm talking about. Also let's get into sharing. Pennsylvania White Bigfoot slowed down on YouTube. Huh? Hi Steve, my name is Sean Wheeler. My wife Sherry and myself want to share this with you. Years ago when we were dating, we were talking about Bigfoot. I told her a story about my mother and father back in '67. We're out by the lake Spungenberg, which is about 10 miles from where we live now. They told me that they had gotten a car about 4 a.m. and out of the woods came a huge white fur-covered beast on 2 feet. It stood way over the car. I asked my dad what its face looked like, and he said, I don't know, I just hit the gas. As I'm telling my wife this, I punched in White Bigfoot. Amazingly enough, this video pops up showing this White Bigfoot in Carbondale, Pennsylvania, which is 1 town over from us. The wooded sections behind Carbondale go all the way to the lake Spungenberg. I have no doubt it's real. Check it out. I think you'll feel the same. We love your show. Thank you for taking the time to read this. Thanks, Sean. That's interesting. Yeah, I think we've all seen that video clip, and that's a creepy one, isn't it? I wonder why that thing let those guys allow itself to slip up that bad with the video camera and a flashlight in his face in the woods. Totally bizarre. But I believe that to be legit. And hearing this short testimony somewhat lends to back that up even more, right? Thanks for sharing that, man, and sending it in. Somebody's going to be interested in what you just shared, without a doubt, besides just me. Steve, hope all is well. It's amazing how much you and I think alike, politically, socially, ethically, and life in general. I call it the way I see it, and I don't believe in sugarcoating my words at all. Those fools that go after and ridicule your channel are immature, uneducated basement rats that have no business hearing conversation with the grown-ups. What a pathetic existence that must be, right? Sitting behind a computer screen thinking, who am I going to argue with or insult today? I personally have learned a lot listening and watching your channel and hearing hundreds of personal testimonies about Sabe encounters as well as other unexplained happenings. I haven't had any recent experiences to share, although I did share my own 2 experiences a while back. which you read publicly on your channel. It was the one titled Four Wolves. I, like many others, used to call them Bigfoot and originally viewed them as half ape, half human, hairy giants, based on the shows and documentaries that I've watched for many, many years. You know the ones. This channel and the testimonies shared here by honest, good people have evolved my way of thinking. I now see that Sabe are more like a giant, hairy human that have abilities that we do not yet understand. Hallelujah to that one. I believe that our forests are home to many beings, cryptids, and spiritual things that are beyond us. I'm always well armed and alert to my surroundings when I'm in the woods. I have no doubt that these beings are real, especially after own experiences. I believe that the ancient people, specifically the native tribes, had a much better grasp on things of the forest, nature, and understanding of our world. Most cell phone warriors would have a very hard time digesting what is real out there. Even as a longtime hunter-fisherman and woodsman, I think I would as well. I think what you're doing is outstanding, providing a platform for those of us to share and compare experiences. We don't need any outside assurance or validation by some idiot of what we witnessed. We know it happened. End of story. No shit. Good point. Thanks again for all you do. It's important that people have a forum to share openly with others. Enjoy your new home. I look forward to more personal experiences and videos. You can read this publicly and use my name if you choose or not. God bless. Be safe, brother. K. Vickers. Kelly, thanks for that email. Appreciate it. Appreciate the kind, supportive words. And I'm glad that the testimonies of all these people helped shuffle you ahead in your knowledge bank and how you're possibly put some more puzzles in your pieces to your puzzle. All right? You hear anything that can help the people, make sure you get it into us, okay? Be much appreciated. Sabe Encounter. These are coming from the July folder again, you guys. Ensures I don't repeat. Not that I get too stressed out about repeat stories on here, but I have had a handful this past week while I've been moving, which I pre-warned everyone about. I'll get back to June and the other month's folder soon and get caught up on getting those voices heard that are patiently waiting in the back. Hey Steve, watch every one of your shows on YouTube. I'm 30 years old, male, live 40 minutes away from experience. Me and my wife were on the mountain one day where we ride dirt bike, and it's in the small mountains in the middle of Pennsylvania near an old mining town that isn't there anymore. It's a state game land, but here's my best one. We're on the mountain driving our truck around, noticed trees broken and bent walking in the woods. I accidentally left a piece of litter by the structured trees. Most of them were pine trees. We felt like we were being watched. Yes, I was drinking, but like you, sighed, it only makes your clothes come off, lol, or whatever that means. So we left and are on the way down the mountain. We kept hearing things in the woods, snaps, pops, really fast running of something moving in there, flanking my truck. I couldn't see anything with the spotlight. So meanwhile, we got to the paved road and felt a lot better. Then about 2 miles down the road, I pulled over to take a leak. By the creek, it's an old pullout on Monument by the creek, and it's an old pullout on Monument Orviston Road. This vibrating roar came that freaked my wife out. She said it sounded like it was right there. I told her it was on the mountain because you could hear an echo. So she yelled at me to get the effing truck. So we left freaked out. Now this happened in 2019. Now that I think about what we did, now that I think about what we did to piss it off. My wife said, I remember knocking a leaning stick off a tree, the piece of litter that dropped. Now this might be a coincidence, but we went back up there where our UTV pulled off the road to let my car. There's a lot of spelling mistakes in here. I hate not reading smooth. To let my car cool off, and the tree fell 40 feet in front of us, like it was telling us not to go a certain way. And I told him I don't know what their real name was and who they are. We haven't been bothered since. Hopefully this doesn't bite me in the ass. Well, thank you for your time, Alan and Gail. P.S. Sorry about your best friend Macaroni. Hope you like your new place. It looks sweet. I want to know why everybody's having all these sightings. Tried to send this to you about a year ago and must have got mixed in with all the other ones. Take care and watch your back, Steve. We're here for you. From smack dab, Pennsylvania. All right, man. Thanks, Alan. Thanks for sending that in. A little rough in the spelling, it's probably auto check or whatever the hell goes on when you're doing it on these devices, but we get the gist of it. You heard that roar and you think it might have been because you pissed it off from smacking a tree and leaving a bit of garbage on the ground or something. But I don't think these things are Smokey the Bear. So I would be, if I had to put money down, it was just coincidence you were there when that thing let her rip. And it is what it is, right? Many people hear that disgusting roar. I haven't heard that roar myself yet, and I'm not really looking forward to it, if it does happen. Anyway, what else we got? Man, I can't wait to get settled in. I don't feel settled at all. I'm just like antsy. On the go, on the go, on the go. Too much to do. I'm trying to get everything fit in, and I know I should probably slow down, but it's just the way I do shit. I'll get settled in. As soon as I get back out the coast, I can get a lot more stuff done smoothly. I was watching him looking at me. Hi, Steve. My name is Wanda Ferguson. Feel free to use my name. My encounter was in the Sierras, Truckee area, about 2012. Got back into town rather late that night, so I decided to sleep in my car. I drove off-road towards the Truckee River and proceeded to ready my car for sleep. I caught sight from the corner of my eye of a figure walking towards my area. I thought it was someone coming from an old downtown, one of the bars. Didn't want to be seen walking on the road. It was around 2 to 2:30 a.m. As this figure got closer, it was not looking too human. 8 to 9 feet tall, wide through the chest, about a good 4 feet, brownish red hair, long arms below the knee. He was moving. I'd say he was 50 yards or so on the other side of a small draw I was paralyzed at. The fact was true. They were real. Just as he was directly across from me, he turned his head and looked straight at me. I said, "Oh, F, he knows I saw him." But he didn't even break stride. He just kept booking. I thought for sure he was going to come back around and get me. I got everything out of me so I could drive out of there. I got everything out of so I could drive out there as fast as I could. The only person I told of this said there was a few of us in the club. Thank you, Steve, for being our advocate. I thought I'd be going to my grave with this. I feel like a weight's been lifted. Keep on keeping on. My prayers are with you and yours. There's another one. And another one. And another one. Thanks, Wanda. I appreciate that. To everybody else there, make sure you proofread your email before you get it to me, all right? I don't have time. A lot of people say, why don't you proofread these? Why don't you read through them and see which one's worthy of sharing or not? I don't have time. You realize how many emails there are? There's thousands. There's thousands of people that need to be heard. Sure, there's going to be a handful out there that aren't worthy of sharing. And while I read these, it goes from here to the edit program. And as I'm reading, I've chopped out a lot of emails out of here before they hit you guys because they were absolute garbage, or the punctuation was absolutely horrible, and I just get frustrated, chop it out, start reading another one, and that's how I do it. And I think I got around 350 unheard stories just sitting and waiting to be edited for that second book. That's a fast way of getting it out there, dumping all of them into a book. That's fast. I haven't got time to do it yet, right? It's all time. So right now, in the near future, hopefully anybody who's hoping to email in, make sure you proofread it. Send it to a friend before you send it here to help me out and help everybody out and help conserve some time, all right? Hello, my name is Ken. I'm 56 years old, and I got to mark this as red so the shit doesn't fly later on. Well, my name is Ken, 56 years old, and spend my summers camping on Cedar Mountain with my wife, the grandson, and whoever else likes to come with me. My experience happened in the summer of 2019 in the Mammoth Creek area of Cedar Mountain. I got up one morning early to build a fire and make coffee like I always do. I'm always the first one up, so I was getting ready to light the fire, and I heard knocking sounds coming from a direction where nobody camps. The closest campers were at least a mile away. I stopped what I was doing and looked up, didn't see anything. I scanned the tree line and there was nothing. I kept hearing it for about 10 minutes, and I said to myself, I know it's you, come over and get a cup of coffee, if you want, just jokingly. Kama and the knocking sound stopped abruptly. I sat there and waited for the sound to start up again, but never did. So I went about the day doing with camp chores, cooking breakfast, chopping wood, and whatever else needed to be done. Later that afternoon, we were sitting around the fire talking, and all of a sudden, about 30 yards away in the tree line, an aspen tree just fell over. We could see in the tree line, and there was nothing over there to make it fall over. No wind or anyone over there messing around. And we all looked at each other like, what the hell? I know trees fall in the forest all the time, but why did that one tree right there by camp decide to fall over? Nothing else happened that summer. I decided to tell my story after hearing the story about the couple that was at Barker Reservoir, which is only about 50 to 60 miles away from where we camp. Love what you're doing, listen to your stories all the time. Started listening to your stories before you even started talking about the Sasquatch. Keep up the great work. One day everyone will find out the truth. I believe they will too, but this is going to be the only way. This is going to be the only way that the people find out the truth, is the people talking. That's the only way, right? Prove me I'm wrong. Show me another route. If there's another route to get to everyone learning the truths, please do share it. Because right now at this point of the game, I strongly believe there is no place left where there's honest truth except with the people. That's it. It's the last place. That's all we got. Mainstream news, mainstream social media outlets are ran by some dirty, filthy bastards. All right? So other than that, what do we got? We only got each other, right? That's it. Thanks for sending that in, man. Appreciate it. Hey Steve, been sitting here watching a few of your older videos on YouTube. One thing I've heard you say several times is, man, if I could come over there and go back out with you, I would. So I have an idea. What if we had a way of setting up folks that didn't want to go back out with those that have dealt with the fear and are willing to help a fellow brother, sister out? Be kind of like a big brother/sister program. I figure the people willing to help can contact folks in their area through messaging. If they decide they want to do it, they can get contact info from each other. It could help folks get through the initial fear of getting back out, maybe teach some coping skills and build some pretty cool friendships in the process. I worked process improvement for the Boeing company, so it's in my blood. I even worked up in Arnprior, CA, and Toronto, Canada and Toronto, setting up work groups at our suppliers. Anyway, Steve, I have a bunch of great ideas to organize the round table. I'm retired and love to help. Brian Stoner, Auburn, Washington. Brian, sounds good to me, man. And I strongly believe that the comment section below each video is a perfect place to hammer that shit out, right? The amount of people watching these videos is off the chart, and especially the amount of people compared to the amount of people that comment, I would imagine, right? Just this month now, it's over 9,000 new subscribers have come to this channel, uninvited but welcome. Over 9,000. You know how many people are looking for honest information today? There's a lot. But that's a great idea, and you know what? Start her up in the comment section. I would imagine. I mean, I definitely don't have the time to organize email and connect to people in my email. I don't have any time for myself right now for much, but that's a great idea, man. Dear Steve, thank you for your genius and courage in finally getting an open forum platform to help the thousands of good people who deserve to have their experiences told. You may use my name, J. Robert Alley, as well as any of the names and accounts in two of my books I would like to send you, Raincoast Sasquatch and a recent collection, please excuse the title, Brushes with Bigfoot. If I can get a postal address for you, I'd be very grateful. Okay, I'll have to look back at my email and find you and get that to you. I'd be interested in seeing that for sure. Before your internet platform for sharing, a few books with first-hand experiences was about all people could have to get honest information out there, apart from what First Nations knowledge was kept within the non-judgmental boundaries of their communities. What you and the thousands who share on this platform have done is helped bring critical thinking and open-mindedness to a lot of people whose lives have been affected by fear and ridicule. 3 years ago at a Sasquatch conference where I was sharing First Nation accounts, I was approached by a USFS ranger who had been working in Guilford-Pinchot National Forest. The ranger had had a trail sighting of a 7.5-foot Sasquatch walk across the trail 50 yards in front of him and his mount. The horse startled, but fortunately swiveled his ears like antennas and whiffed. The ranger reported that when signing the typed copy the supervisor had made out, the supervisor brought out a man he introduced as Agent, name not given, from the FBI, adding, "You'll just need to sign this non-disclosure agreement." The ranger did not give any specific dates, locations, or names, but it's not surprising that governmental disclosure is only starting to happen in the U.S. at the state level, as evidenced in the Ohio Department of Natural Resources 4-part blog on Bigfoot. I was sad to hear Mr. Macaroni's passing. There's a hilly range somewhere here in the Pacific Northwest called Horse Heaven Hills. I like to think of those of us who have had the wonderful company of animals in our lives are sure to connect with them again, as I'm sure you will. The third email you read on Friday, July 2nd, that opened with a reference to Owlman was a great share, and I was amazed at how well it resonated with what both wise old hunters and First Nation witnesses have related. Thank you, Steve, and all who have shared with us through your platform for your courage and integrity. A lot of us older folks love the outdoors, but have gotten stuck indoors and miss hiking, hunting, backpacking, and fishing. We really appreciate the forest, muskeg, and mountain scenes that I'm sure you work hard to deliver. What a blast. Just find more steelhead shots, will you? Oh, I will be. They're in my backyard now. Thanks again, Steve, for all you're doing, and much joy in your newer, more peaceful surroundings. Yours truly, J. Robert Alley. Absolutely appreciate that email. And as soon as I can, I'll find you in my inbox and I'll get you my email address and you can send me a couple copies for sure, man. And thanks for those supportive words for the people. Appreciate it. All right, what do we got? Hello, Steve. Been battling the dark side all... Okay, hold on. Hello, Steve. Been battling the dark side all my life. I found out who really controlled us by William Cooper, a true American hero that was assassinated in front of his house by the cops. Here's what is going on to break the backs of the evil ones. Here's one great man trying to make a difference. Robert David Steele. He's going around the country on buses bringing out patriots that are sick and tired of the politicians, both Democrats and Republicans. There's been bought and paid for by the corporations. The tour is called Arise USA Resurrection Tour. He has Constitutional Sheriff Richard Mack on tour with him. Also a former rancher named Trent Luce, who came upon Steele by accident, loves what this tour is all about. It's being done with donations from the people, not the corps. They're going through every state and will be at Mount Rushmore on the 4th of July. I think that's passed. Hope they had a good time there. All the tourist stops are free except the 4th, which they will be giving VIP passes. These tours are going to be every year until we take our country back. That sounds frickin' awesome to me, man. That sounds absolutely awesome. Sounds like the good guys are getting together and forming a small army, which hopefully is going to get absolutely huge. I love hearing that shit. All right. Sorry it was a little late. Obviously, it's not. This isn't an easy place for somebody to email in that something's coming up in the future, right? Because God only knows when I'm going to get a hold of that email, right? If at all, sometimes. True human. My hiking trip with Grandpa. Every summer since I was a little girl, my grandparents would take me camping to Luzerne in Michigan. I now live in Georgia, where I've lived since I was 15, but my experience happened in the 70s when I was 8 or 9 years old. It was in the summer, and it was unusually hot. And early one morning, me and my grandpa went hiking in the woods. He'd show me different animal tracks as we hiked and point out different trees and make awesome bird calls. Some I have a hard time doing. We would hike for several hours, and it was getting close to noon, and we were in an area we'd never been in before of the woods. It was really thick and very dark. Grandpa started asking me if I knew how to climb a tree. Of course I said yes, being a tomboy. And I kind of looked at him weird and said, "Why?" He said, "Because they're hunting right now." I said, "Who's hunting?" And he said, "The people of the woods. Listen." So we stopped and we listened. We heard grunts. We heard whoops. And we heard some grunts. They seemed to be too far away. Then I heard a deer screaming. He said, "I think they got one," and bent over and picked up a large branch. We turned around and looked at me and said, "When I tell you to run, you run and get up the closest tree you can get to. Don't let him see you." I, being a smart-ass little girl, bent over and picked up a tree limb and said, "No, we'll fight them off together." He giggled a little bit, and when he turned around and started walking away from where we heard the noises, Then in front of us there was some rustling and some trees and bushes, and she stepped out. I was scared to death. I started crying. My grandpa grabbed me by my shoulder and pushed me behind him and stood his ground and started walking backwards away from her as she stood there and looked at us for a long time, it seemed, and then turned around and walked back into the woods. Grandpa grabbed a hold of me by the hand, and we walked as fast, not running, as we could out of the woods back towards the travel trailer. It took us a long time. We didn't say anything to each other the entire hike back to the trailer. When we came out of the trail, he sat me down on the rock and said, "I saw her too, but you have to promise not to tell anyone. They'll think you're crazy, and they won't believe you." And we never brought it up again. I told my story one other time when I was younger to a friend of mine, and she, of course, laughed at me and called me a ding-dong. Well, Steve, that's my story. I no longer live in Michigan and now live in Georgia. I've heard them down here, but I've not seen them. But I will never forget that experience with my grandpa that day in the woods. Thank you for sharing my story. Have a good one. All right. Thanks for that share. There's a couple of mistakes in there, no big deal. But if you could, if you want to, email us back again and give us your description of what you saw. I'll bet you it's tattooed in the back of your brain. You'd probably be able to verbally deliver that description to us quite smoothly and detailed, right? I'm sure everybody would be interested to hear what it was exactly you saw standing there staring at you guys. But anyway, I'm going to slowly start moving my way through this timber patch and see what else might be in here and set up the camera. And maybe get another volley email shares done, so I can deliver them to the people, get everybody heard, and get all these truths out there, get some missing puzzle pieces gathered, right? So share my story at howtohunt.com or tell my story at howtohunt.com, and don't email any other. If you think there's another email for me, don't email it there. It doesn't get used for this, okay, you guys? And I'll be back shortly.